Hi guys, I'm back, and this is going to be a video about a PSA, public service announcement, about how it seems as if off-grid living is trying to be something that the state is trying to illegalize. So we already know about what Trump is doing in the other cities, with shutting down the homeless camps and making vehicle dwelling a thing of the past. In other words, you really can't dwell in your vehicle unless you're hiding somewhere, and then even there, they will come and find you. Ask for information, ask for registration, and if you are not able, if you don't want to assist in giving them those things, they will tow your car. And of course, you live in your car, so your car is your home, so that hurts. But they also are wanting to mess with people in RVs. And so I happen to have an RV, and this is the third time they've come over, and this is going to be the last time. And I'm going to tell you what I did to keep them away. I'm going to go ahead and explain what's going on in this video real quick. I have just finished homeschooling with the girls, and I dropped them off at a geometry class that they'll be getting out of in about 2 hours. And then they'll be picked up, and they're going to be going to a piano class afterwards. So a friend of mine is carpooling, and I'll be carpooling on Monday. So I decided I'm going to go ahead and take this time to just make some beef hot dogs and some hot links and just have a few extra for whenever the girls do come home. Come out here and enjoy my beautiful land that I'm so grateful for. So I'm going to go ahead and just get right into this story about how I have been accosted now and having police come and knock on my private property. So the private property I share is right next to my auntie's house. So it is half my property and half her property. A portion of my property is on her land, and she's let me use it right now. I ended up buying my part, and so I do have a deed. So the first time that a police officer came out, they were telling me that I would not be able to park here because they thought it was a private property. And I just let them know that I actually owned this property, and I had to show them the deed. Yes, I did. They wanted proof. And if not, they were going to keep coming back, or they were going to look up proof, and it just would have caused more problems. They are asking questions now. So I did. I went ahead and I showed them my deed, and then I was done from there. Now, about 2 days later, we had another cop come at about 8 in the morning. This time they came and they knocked on my auntie's door. And so I was able to go over there. My auntie called me over. And so what he was saying is that it actually is somebody calling on me. So it is a hater. There is a neighbor on the next street that has made a remark, something like, I remember she was walking by one day and she just said something like, you can't park those in the city. If they find out, you'll get fined and they'll tow your RV. And I was like, no, ma'am, this is, I can park in the city because I do happen to know the zoning laws here in Missouri. So that's what I'm going to be showing you guys and how I got out of this. She then went on. She was just like an old lady who just liked to start stuff for no reason. And then, boom, here was the police showing up. So this police officer did let me know that it was actually someone calling in. I let him know that I had just proved that this was a private property and that I have a deed to this land. So he went on to then say, well, I am, it's still illegal to park in the city. I haven't really done my research yet, but I will give you about 2 days to do your research. I'm going to do my research, and then I'll come back because they're doing some kind of clean sweep in the city is what they're saying. And they're trying to get rid of like RVs or like abandoned vehicles and things of that nature. So now, how that doesn't apply to me is mine is actually on my land, and it is very far back from the street. And this isn't abandoned. It's actually a living structure. So that's exactly what I did, guys. I ended up printing out the rules, regulations, and everything that I would need to show that I do have authority to live here and that I own this land. So I'm going to be showing you guys the paperwork that I showed the officer. And this is the only reason why he is now off my back. At the end of this video, I'm going to be uploading it. And I'll also give you advice on what to do if this ever happens to you. So the first thing you want to do is you want to look at the zoning laws in your area and just see if a full-time RV living is something that can be done in that area. As soon as you put in the zoning laws and the zip code or state or city that you're going to be in, you'll be able to pull that information up. I'm going to also show you guys documentation of the information that I pulled up. So it will be no confusion at all. And matter of fact, here it is now. So I ended up printing out all the information that I found. Right here it states that you can live on your property in your RV as long as it is not visible from the street, and my RV is parked very far back. It also states the type of property that I could live in full-time of my RV, which is my private property, or if it was somebody else's property, which is my aunt, I just need a letter from her also stating that I could use her side of the property. The last letter that I put in there was I was just stating my reasons of concern, because this is also something that will sometime allow them to back off of you if you happen to come into a problem like this. Let's say that you're parked in an RV somewhere and they are telling you that there are stipulations of why you can't be there. There was just a national disaster here in my town. There was a tornado, so a lot of people, thousands of people, lost their homes. And then also domestic violence, because there are times that people are in domestic violence situations, and there are just not enough domestic centers or shelters to send those people to. And so a lot of the times they end up finding alternative solutions to escape their unsafe situation. And so that is actually the reason why, and one of the reasons why I am doing this off-grid living. I was assaulted by my domestic partner on May the 17th. It was a very physical assault, and it was actually an attempt on my life. The only thing that saved me is my son came in, and me and him got together, and we just beat him up. I'm sorry. He was about to throw me out a window. I really don't want to talk about this too much, but my son was only 18. He was trying to subdue him, and I needed to be able to subdue him also until the police came. And I actually did have to, I had to bust his head, guys. He actually had a weapon. I got the weapon out of his pocket and away from him. And I ended up having to pick up another something and pop him in the head a few times while I was on the phone with the police. So therefore, the police actually heard all of this. They heard him ready to assault me. They heard the fight. They heard me getting the gun. They heard him. They heard me saying that he's not going to hurt my son. I'm going to have to defend my son. And so when they came in, I was on top of him, and I was wearing his head out with that pot. And so they ended up actually arresting him. He wasn't able to stay long because he did need stitches in the top of his head and in his lip. Because, and I'm not a violent person, but my life was in danger. Even my it was a bad situation. When you're fighting for your life, you don't know what you will do. And I saved my life. And so I ended up moving into this RV, just to give myself a little bit more shelter and safety, and just to know that I could do it. On top of the fact that I love off-grid living also, but that's just a little tap into who I am and what also is going on in my life, because I mean, what's the point of hiding it? And this is also something that I shared with the officer, so that they also would know that, because sometimes it is good to tell at least one authority person what's going on in case it happens again. Good. So I ended up showing the officer this paperwork,
get us just
which he
walking
thanked
to-
me
Here,
for
Trinity, can you
actually,
hold it
and
and
because
get
he
me
hadn't even pulled up that information. He called the sergeant while I was there, read the paperwork out loud. They heard my story also about the domestic violence, and just with the domestic violence alone is what I wanted to tell you guys. It would have granted me an additional 120 days. So if you find yourself in this situation, you may have an RV, a tent, car camping, something of that nature. The one thing that will stop you from being accosted by the police would be to actually just explain your situation, because there's a new law in effect that if you are a victim of domestic violence and or national disaster, then you do have a right to try to find yourself alternative housing.
Kids are doing this
They know that the shelters are just not taking that many people in right now. So hopefully that'll help somebody else too. I ended up actually printing out 3 different copies of these rules. I keep one in my RV now at all times. I also have a letter from my aunt saying that I can be on her
Just
property.
wave and walk away.
And then I kept one for myself, and I also kept one for my aunt. The police officer let me know that it was just really a nosy neighbor that just wanted to know the laws and just see if it was legal for me to be here. But he said now that he knows who I am and also what I'm going through, he said that will automatically take me off the list of anybody, even if they didn't get the memo about RVs. My RV will be on the list of a do not disturb due to a national disaster or domestic violence. So, maybe that'll help somebody else out. But it definitely is getting bad out here. I'm not gonna let it affect me too much. And right now I'm just gonna go ahead and show you what we did for the rest of the day. So this is us homeschooling. We actually got up this morning and we did a writing routine. So they got up, we do a little bit of meditating, and then they write down their goals for the day. We went ahead and we also had a math class, a math test, a brush up on their multiplications and simple fractions, just to see where they are and where I'm going to start them at the beginning of the school year, which is now. After that, I ended up going to go get this little pizza, and we are now just going to enjoy this pizza here in the park. All right, so I'm going to now just be kind of keep you guys updated on what we have been doing in our spare time. So right here, we actually got up this morning and we took us like a math recap, pre-test, just to see how sharp our skills are. We ate lunch in the park, and we are now at one of our favorite destinations, which is the library. I actually rent out a room in here maybe once or twice a week, because this is a great way to do your classes outside of the home, and it just gives the girls another atmosphere. I like the library because they have the dry erase boards, books. If we come up with something we might want to be researching, the books are right there. Any material we might need is right there, from printers to markers to if we need educational supplies like a compass. They have all different kind of activity kits. So the library is my go-to place for teaching class. It gets you out the house, and it just makes it makes the kids be a little bit more in tune. Well, they're in tune regardless because they're used to homeschooling now. Just give them a different scenery. And so, kids love that. So right here, it looks like we are going ahead and we're just going over some cursive practice. They actually can write in cursive already, but they haven't over the last 2 months while they've been off for summer, other than whenever I might have them write something. So I'm just going to have them brush up and just see how their cursive skills are, and if they need any more work on it, or we gonna go ahead and move on to the next thing. Now, their cursive skills are actually pretty good. They can write all of their letters correctly now. So what I do now is they are in what's called a teen cursive.
Please just keep writing.
Class, because nobody learns cursive anymore. And so the teen cursive class would just be them writing like full sentences in cursive, reading in cursive, and then having to also write their answers back in cursive. And it'll just be full sentences. With the younger kids, it's usually just the ABCs. Like you're going to write a cursive A, a cursive B, or maybe just a short word. So they now have moved up and they're actually on high school level cursive, which is crazy because they don't even teach cursive in high school. So your kid is literally considered a high schooler if they can write cursive. Not really, but at least on the cursive side. But they are very smart. So they're in a teen cursive course, and that is where I have a workbook. I have some and also some academic reports that I fill out for them every 6 weeks, and I'll just have them do that to practice, to constantly write in cursive. And then this year for school, their requirements is that they are going to be turning in everything in cursive. So that's another way for them to get all their practice. But that's not all that we did in here. We actually did some math practice, and we did a little bit of research on history. It was a subject that their teacher has us researching right now. So we printed out a book and did some research also on those ancient Egypt times. So this is where I actually took the girls for a writing course. It's this beautiful walkway called Chain of Rocks Bridge.
Trinity.
And it just have beautiful scenery. And so we just kind of walked around and took pictures.
That's messed up.
And then they are now going to write a 2-page essay, detailed essay about what they saw, how it made them feel, and just whatever emotions or feelings or thoughts that came across their mind while we were at this beautiful junction. I ended up, of course, y'all know, picking me some flowers. I got some native flowers, so I will be making a smudge stick soon. All right, see you later.